This is RGR Football, and today we're covering the NFL at a wider angle. If you're new around here, hit that sub, the like, and the bell notification so you know what's going on. And if you're new to the channel, I'm Ryan. This is my channel, Going Rogue, and it's about a little bit of everything, not just on-field work, but what goes on off the field as well. I'm a former strength and conditioning coach and exercise physiologist, so that's kind of the perspective that I come from. And quite frankly, watching the beginning of Hard Knocks in this year of all years, I kind of drifted towards that old school approach of being the physiologist, the clinician first. And so these are some of my takeaways. And first is off the top of the show, knowing that Anthony Lynn had COVID. And I thought it was really telling about what the symptoms were and weren't. And I thought it was really important to hear his story. And I thought they did a good job telling it because there's so many people that get that and feel kind of crummy and don't get super sick, but they are contagious. And so they can pass it around to other people. And like he said, if he hadn't been watching television and caught that out of the corner of his eye, really, he might not have ever gotten tested. He could have infected a lot of other people. And that's exactly the danger of this virus is you just don't know. They don't know, the scientists don't know exactly how it's going to perform or hurt any specific person. So avoiding getting contact with it is important because you just don't know what the result's going to be. And I thought they highlighted that pretty well. And I thought he told his story. I thought he was really engaging. And I've been a fan of Anthony Lynn as a coach for quite a while, and I think this gave you a better perspective on the person. So fans of other than the Chargers probably got a unique perspective on him and can actually grow to like the guy. Now, secondly, I want to talk about the facilities and how the different teams are going about their philosophy in keeping the players safe on this particular season in this particular camp. And it starts with the facilities. I thought that you saw face shields being used by the Rams, and I thought that was good. We've seen that with some other teams. There'll probably be a visual here that actually protects you in a way that deflects everything down rather than out. I think that's significant. You saw the way that two California teams are trying to use the outdoor space. That makes a lot of sense as well. And setting up those facilities so that they have a little bit more air moving through, room to spread out is the term that they used in the show, and I thought that was very good as well. You didn't get a very good sense about how well the spacing was, but we'll talk about the players reacting to it here in a minute. One thing facility-wise that I was not that confident in the way they portrayed it is how close the lockers were. Not only the one room where you had training tables and you had guys storing stuff literally right next to each other, and maybe there was a space in between, that's still pretty tight quarters. And also in the secondary locker room where you saw lockers facing each other, spread all around, honestly not spaced enough for what I think are probably the more cautious teams. And that is in direct contrast to what we've seen from the Kansas City Chiefs and what they've put out and how they've gone about putting up specific plexiglass barriers with a good 6-foot locker in between and really compartmentalizing every guy's personal space when they're changing at their locker, going for gear or whatever it is. I think that approach is quite a bit better and has a better chance of standing up against the virus getting into the building. In terms of the behavior of the players and coaches, I thought it was great to see McVay come back at the end of the show and say that he in particular hadn't done a good enough job and that none of them had. And I think that's drastically true across the whole show. You saw a lot of guys, a young quarterback wearing the mask down below his nose, etc. That's not the proper way to do it. It doesn't do any good when you do it that way. Guys fist bumping, actually coming in close contact with each other, the coach jumping in the huddle. There's a lot of room to improve there. But I think the one that made me the most concerned for some of the players was, yes, the weight room was well spaced out because it was outdoor, but the benches that they were all congregating on there right on top of each other. So I'm sure the medical staffs will go over some of that, and we'll see some changes in the coming weeks. I think it'll be really interesting to watch the show and see what comes of that. And lastly, whether you're a fan of Lee Schreiber, who does the voiceover work for this show, or just getting a little bit more emotion out of the show, I thought they did a good job of showing personality in this first episode. Whether it's the more subdued personalities of Joey Bosa, who got emotional, I think that was good to see and helps you identify with him, or Aaron Donald, who I think, at least in the way that it was cut for the episode, really showed a very a very quiet personality, a guy that is in supreme shape so much I think he scared some of his teammates, but a guy that doesn't do a lot of talking, at least not that we've seen so far. I'd like to know if that's really his personality or not. So if you happen to know or you follow that team, leave your comments down below and let me know what you think. The last one that I think, the blow up with Jalen Ramsey, I think sounds a lot like Jalen Ramsey. Quite frankly, he's somebody I think is more headache for a lot of teams, particularly somebody that's on the right path already, like a Super Bowl champion. That I think that shows you why not all teams were interested in him. But give him credit, he came back and recovered, and I think explaining himself a little better than trying to give just a really short answer, I think goes a long way towards explaining not only what you're trying to say, but who you are as a person too. So you got to see some personality there. Overall, I think there's a lot more depth on these two teams, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And if you guys like this one, leave a comment below, and I'll do more on the following episodes. If you don't, hey, let me know that too. So if you're one of the new fans, if you're a Chargers fan or a Rams fan, welcome. I do cover the Chiefs a lot, but also cover the NFL in quite a lot of different ways. Draft this year is going to be very interesting, so look for some of that. Like, sub, and hit the bell. Appreciate your time, and I'll check you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more, and subscribe to RGR Football.